There was a new lawsuit filed with the Ohio Supreme Court this week tied to a proposed constitutional amendment that will be on the ballot in a special election in August. It's over issue 1, which, if passed, would make it harder for voters to change Ohio's constitution.
This gets a little tricky. Our legal expert, Stephanie Haney, is here to explain it a little bit better. So it's our Legally Speaking segment. Stephanie, what is the lawsuit focusing on? Because we know there was one already. Now there's a second one.
That's exactly right, Jay and Betsy. This is the second lawsuit from this group, One Person, One Vote, that's tied to the August special election. Now, this one is over the language that will be on the ballot explaining issue 1 if the special election is allowed to happen. Now, the language states that 60% of voters would have to vote yes on a constitutional amendment in order for it to pass. And the explanation paragraph describes issue 1 as something that would, quote, elevate the standards by which the Constitution of the state of Ohio may be amended. This was approved by the Ohio Ballot Board, which is chaired by Secretary of State Frank LaRose. 3 Republicans, including LaRose, voted for it, and the 2 Democrats on the board voted against it. Now, the language doesn't include any explanation of the current rules, which LaRose said after the meeting was done for brevity. So that was his explanation as to why that was done.
All right, so what does this group that filed this lawsuit say is wrong with the language, which is very important? Sometimes, I'm not alleging that's the case here, but sometimes it feels like the language that will appear on the ballot is intentionally confusing.
Well, you're getting right to the point of what this group is saying, Jay, with that point there, because they're saying this is about what's included and also what they didn't include. That is the problem here. So the lawsuit says the ballot board left out key information, like making it clear that the current threshold to pass a constitutional amendment is a simple majority yes vote of 50% plus 1, and that using language like elevate in the explanation section has a positive connotation that could be misleading to voters. Now, what the group wants is for the Ohio Supreme Court to order the ballot board to come up with new language that's more clear and more in line with previous ballot issues where changes are clearly spelled out. Now, the state has to respond to this week. So we are waiting on their filing now, Jay and Betsy, to see what they say in response to this.
All right, so before we talked about this group's other lawsuit that wants to stop this election from happening altogether, where do things stand with all that?
That is a great question because we're kind of waiting on the Ohio Supreme Court here. Now, One Person, One Vote submitted supporting documents for its case to block the August election entirely on May 12th. Those are the last filings in the case. So from here, either party could file more documents on their own. The court could ask for more information, or the court could simply decide the case, give us a ruling. And by the way, we could get a decision on this new lawsuit first. They are separate issues because even if there's no August special election for issue 1, it can show up on the November ballot. And Jay and Betsy, all of this really needs to be done on a fast timetable because as we know here, this election, August 8th, just 2 months from now, just over 2 months from now.
And you don't just whip up an election. There's a lot of runway that needs to come into this thing.
Yeah, they're spending money, getting ready for this to happen either way.
Wow, amazing. Well, I'm sure you'll keep an eye on it for us. We'll have updates. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steph.